hell was that?
Anyone else feeling a bit lost? So, peeps, the other day, Spindle, the sister company to Spindle Horse, just released their first ever project with the brand new Homestuck pilot. Now, if you recall a month ago, we covered the trailer to Homestuck, and it was there that I first learned of Homestuck's existence. As it turns out, Homestuck is something that has existed for a long time now. But still, despite that, nobody was expecting them to make a return, especially on this big of a scale. So, what about the pilot itself? Was it any good, or is it perhaps a disaster waiting to happen? Well, after watching it twice on myself now, I do have a fair few thoughts that we need to talk about. Hey guys, it's the Pink King here, and yes, it's real, Homestuck has a pilot. Now, before we begin, I just want to clarify that I have never heard of Homestuck until the first trailer came out, which, you know, a lot of you found quite shocking in the comments of that video. I remember seeing so many people who were surprised that I'd never heard of it. I was surprised myself after doing a little bit of research on it, because apparently it has been around ever since 2009. That's 16 years ago, almost 2 decades now, and shockingly, this thing has lore, like a lot of lore. I tried to do some research on it, and there's a lot to go through. Although something I did find interesting while researching this, however, is that apparently, allegedly, the Homestuck fandom and the VivziePop fandom do not get along with each other very well. Now, I don't know if this is a thing or not, but from the stuff I have seen, it's safe to say that there's a lot of animosity between these two groups, which is kinda ironic considering the fact that they're now partnered together. But I'm getting off track here. What about the pilot itself? Was it any good? That's what we're all wondering. So, how was it overall? Well, it was okay, but there's a pretty big problem here that we do need to discuss. Now, what problem is that, you might be asking? Well, that would be, it really doesn't work well as a pilot. Let's start off with the obvious. According to my research, it seems that Homestuck has a pretty deep lore to it. A lore, mind you, that will need to be reintroduced for new audiences here. And when it comes to introducing the audience to its world, it sadly just sort of throws you into the deep end right away and doesn't really explain much, if anything at all. The most they do is introduce the sort of main characters we'll be seeing throughout the show, and when it came to that, it was pretty good, you know? They get across who they are and what their relationships with each other are, but outside of that, they really don't show much in order to ease us in, and that's not really a good thing with this show, because how does this digital world work? What's the deal with the asteroid? Why is the dad Slender Man? And most importantly of all, what is the show gonna be about? This is probably the biggest sin here, because despite my best attempts, I can't for the life of me tell you what this series will be about. Is it going to be about an adventure? Is it going to be a slice of life? I got no idea, because they quite frankly don't explain it well. You can have mystery, of course. I love when a show has a good mystery, but how are we supposed to go through your maze if we don't even know where the starting point is? It's all very confusing. Now hold on, peeps. Do you want to be featured in a video? Just like Lambada Armada, Creatively, and the epic Jack Peng? Then you need to subscribe right now, because I'm on a mission to get to 20,000 subscribers, and we are only 400 subs away from crossing that finish line, and I need your help in order to reach it. So, if you want to help me on my mission to get to 20,000 subscribers and potentially get a shout out in the future, then you need to subscribe right now and tell me in the comments down below that you subscribed, and who knows, it might just be your name that's the one featured in the very next video. But with that, let's get back into Homestuck. So, when it comes to being a pilot, it's very weak. Only 4 characters get proper introductions here, and when it comes to what the show's supposed to be about, they do a very poor job at explaining it. So, with that, it's hard to get invested when we don't even know what it is to get invested in. And even the characters are a bit iffy in terms of investment, as while I liked John and Roxy's personalities and dynamic, the other two, I don't know, they felt a bit generic and uninteresting. Again, it's only the pilot, so you can't expect them to do fully fleshed out or developed stuff, I understand, but for what it is, I feel like they could have maybe done a bit more in order to get me more interested in seeing these characters again. Plus, I really hope that the actual series will have a longer runtime, because this pilot, despite being 11 minutes, tries to fit in as many things as it possibly can, with a lot of the more important elements often getting sidelined or rushed in order to fit it all in one space. So, when they do actually start making more episodes, I hope that they pace these episodes a lot better, because here at the moment it's so fast that it can be really overwhelming for someone like me who's never seen Homestuck before. I get trying to appeal to your audience. After all, this series has had a solid fan base for a while now, but when it comes to a series, you gotta make sure it's understandable as possible for newer people. But outside of the negatives, there were still a fair few things I actually found to be really enjoyable here. Like the jokes, sure, not all of them land, but there are certain visual gags and clever one-liners that manage to get a good chuckle out of me, I'll say that. Plus, the animation of this is stunning. You can definitely tell that the team here put most of their energy and brain power into the animation, as it moves in a really interesting way, and the style perfectly suits the tone. It kind of reminds me of Astaf movie, that sort of early YouTube cartoon aesthetic that's really appealing to me. Plus, all the little details like the transitions, or when they'll show multiple characters on screen at the same time. It was really interesting and opened up for a lot of cool imagery. It felt well planned out, and you can tell by just looking at so many of these shots just how well they planned them out. However, I do feel like they did the split screen thing a little too much. You know, there's a certain point where it just starts to lose its magic when you start dragging it out a bit too much. But aside from that, this pilot, at least on a visual level, has the same quality as Spindle Horse's usual work, but has enough of its own identity in order to stand out and feel fresh when comparing it to something like Hell of a Boss or Hazbin Hotel. And I think the visuals here are really good, and I hope that they keep it this aesthetic moving forward. So, in conclusion, would I recommend Homestuck? Well, I probably wouldn't recommend it for anyone who's not familiar with the series, because this doesn't really explain what's going on or what to expect, and could turn you off from it, just off how clueless it leaves you. But if you're someone who's familiar with the series, then I probably would recommend this just on the novelty factor alone of it being a new animated pilot for it. However, outside of that, I'd probably say either look for something else or wait until the actual series comes out for us to get a proper, accurate judgment of it. But what about you peeps? Were you hyped up for this pilot, or were you not as interested? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear everything you have to say about Homestuck. And if you enjoyed today's video and want to see more stuff just like this, then be sure to like this video and subscribe. Doing so not only tells me you want to see more content just like this, but it actually helps me make that content for you guys a whole lot faster. But with that, peeps, it's been the Pink King here, and I will see you all next time.